Hey Gamologist, I'm John Alite, ex-Hitman of the Gambino family. And let's get into this game, Mafia 2. You have certain guys that are doing hits, and after they're finished with the hit, we kill them because we know they're worthless. They betray their friend, we know they'll betray you also.
Don't kill me!
This when you have somebody like this and they're begging, this is all true stuff.
You should have thought about your wife before.
And his answer to him is, you should have thought about that before. Is typical, is good. And these guys, the way they're shooting them up here is typical also. They won't shoot them once or twice. They make an example and they're gonna shoot them 10 times. This is supposed to be the 50s, 40s, 50s, so the clothing, the voices, the attitude, it's on par.
Mr. Galante wants to talk to you. Come with me.
Carmine Galante was one of the bosses years ago. So I guess some of the names they use in the vetoes, it's supposed to be Vito Genovese, I believe.
But O'Neill's all by himself right now in the gym. Guards won't be back for a while. You're just gonna give him a good beating. Break a couple of bones, same as they did to me.
A lot of this is realistic because in the jails before, well, even some of the jails now, you got control of the guards, especially in those days. Your mob had a lot of control inside with guards and stuff. I mean, he's in a weight room supposedly, but there's nobody around, which is not realistic. You'd have guards and inmates around, but the situation is realistic. It would have been somewhere else, in a shower, in a mop closet, in one of the libraries, church, somewhere. You can get to somebody like this by themselves. Not open like this with nobody around at all. Not in a big workout yard.
Shut the
But the murder just now of that itself, and the knife, shank, in jail they would call it, is realistic. I love these old cars. I was in Cuba, you still see them around when I was there.
This is our turf, and it's gonna cost you to operate here. Now pay up.
You're the one who doesn't get it. You have any idea who you're talking to?
I think the relationship here and the way they're talking to each other is pretty realistic, actually. Whoever consulted on this, I think, did a good job, because this is exactly how you'll talk back and forth to each other. He downgraded him, he's abusing him, basically calling him a punk, and this is exactly how you'll talk to each other. And they're pulling up, doing a hit like that is also realistic.
Come here, you
Leave me alone! Leave me alone,
I'll show you what it feels like, you fucking son of a...
You know, the depiction of loyalty in the mob is just that, movies and games, but in real life, there is no loyalty. The betrayal is a regular occurrence. You have all the mafia bosses that are all cooperating and testifying against their guys, and even wearing wires now, the bosses, against the rest of their guys. So it's very hard to get guys to do work for them anymore. You have the bosses cooperating. The clothing and the look, the language is very good here. Like, you've got a lot of power struggles going on in the mafia, even till today. Maybe not as much violence, but anytime there's money involved, there's going to be struggles, even within the family, because greed is the cause of the betrayal. And you're never going to stop the betrayal within each other and their families to other families because of the money. And the money factor changes, and this is why you have guys that will betray their guys for other families and will betray them for the law.
No! Fuck! They shot him! He's dead, Vito!
Joe, come on, we gotta get out of here. You can't help him now.
You also have here, which depicts, and it shows the intelligence level on a lot of these guys are not too bright. And what people think when you talk about organized crime, there's only a handful of organized guys with some intelligence, the rest follow. Most of them are disorganized, not educated, and you got a handful of tough guys, and the rest are sheep.
This is for Marty.
Kind of shows it here, where you have a couple of the bosses and then you have the dummies that carry out the work alone without any thought process. Yeah, it happened back then, and even when you have certain guys that are doing hits, after they're finished with the hit, we kill them because we know they're worthless. They're not intelligent enough to keep them around. You don't trust them. They betray their friend. We know they'll betray you also. And this is what goes on, the double dealing in the mafia. The loyalty will be to the next boss that makes some money, or the next guy that brings in money. With the violence back, especially back in those days, is real. Up to about 2000 was a lot of violence. After that, not really. The Mafia's hierarchy is no different now than a typical large company with CEOs and board members. What they have is a structure now of a panel of bosses. It's not one boss anymore like it used to be. So they structure it different to actually try to strengthen. If somebody goes down or if somebody cooperates, you got other guys on that same level. And they make a decision as a group like boards do for a large company. The structure of the Mafia was built on the same structure as the Army, where you answer to one general and 4-star general, 3-star general, on your way down. Now they changed it to hold the structure together, which they're having difficulty hold the structure together because of technology and because of the bosses cooperating against the underlings. I think they're going to hit this guy on his lawn. They wouldn't be showing it like this, so I'm assuming he's going to get killed in a second.
Mr. Angelo,
Yes?
Mr. Salieri sends his regards.
So this is a typical hit, especially in those days up until the late 90s even. Very easy to hit guys when you knew where they lived in the neighborhood, especially in the inner cities, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and people minded their business. Now it's, again, technology. You can't just roll in front of someone's house and do that. There's Ring cameras and cameras on every block, lights.
You know something, Carlo? For the last 10 years, all I've done was kill. I killed for my country. I killed for my family. I killed anybody that got in my way.
Yeah, this is accurate. The power in the mob constantly switches and transfers, and again, out of greed, out of hatred, out of money. When the Mafia first started, it started with the idea of protecting people that couldn't protect themselves. And like anything, like any government, the more power you give individuals, they take more advantage of. So the idea initially was to help, not to hurt. And later on, it becomes something that's bad, not good. And it started off with good intentions. And unfortunately, every time you give any man power like this, or any individual's power, especially as a group, they take advantage of the weak and the underlings. And that's exactly what happened here, and it's exactly what happens in each government around the world. It's hard to distribute power without them taking advantage of that. Back in those days, arson is something that's really outlawed within the Mafia. So is bombs. They still do it, even though they're not supposed to do it. It's against our rules, but it's done. And people just deny it and say they didn't do it. But the reason why they don't want it done, especially bombs, is because you may be killing innocent people, and that's one of the things that is outlawed. You're supposed to be professional and carry yourself a different way.
Big mistake.
And the nonsense talking like he did with the threats, that's usual. You try to teach the younger guys to keep their mouth shut. Construction sites, big business for the mob. I like Mafia too. I thought it was very realistic. The guys that they play the parts, the guys, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way their clothing is, and the way they carry themselves is all realistic in the Mafia. I think the simulation and logistics of the game was done very well. Whoever consulted on that has a little knowledge of the Mafia for sure. It was done well. It was actually, I think everybody would enjoy playing that game. You play that game, watch that game, I think you have to like it. Hi everybody, that was Gamology, Mafia 2. Check it out on YouTube and Facebook. I'm John Alite. Check me out on my website, johnalite.com, my Instagram, John Alite, in Barnes & Noble, my books. Everybody enjoy yourself. Have a great day.